resulting in an apparent tactical shift in Syria's bloody civil war as rebels expand their weaponry and increase military action.
Syrian Arab army units eliminate dozens of terrorists in several areas and achieve new field progress.
As you have seen, Syria has become worse and worse over the years after the Arab Spring. To understand Syria, it is important to know its history, information about its leaders, and important events that have led up to Syria's current situation. Syria was founded on September 28, 1961, and led for 39 years by Hafez al-Assad. He ruled the republic under an authoritarian regime until his son, Bashar al-Assad, took over in 2000. He followed in his father's footsteps for the 11 years leading to the Arab Spring. Once the Arab Spring movement occurred in the Middle East, citizens began protesting against the Syrian government because of the demand for reforms. People felt the need to put an end to government oppression and poverty in Syria. However, after Assad promised to reform these problems, nothing has changed. Today, there is a civil war that has left the world wondering how this all started in the first place. In 2011, the Arab Spring movement began in the Middle East, inspiring protesters to speak out against Bashar al-Assad's regime. These protesters wanted a democratic government and more political progress. The government did not approve of this, however, so they kidnapped, tortured, and killed rebels that have helped or led to the cause of this. This caused protesters to retaliate against the government. Civilian rebels began arming themselves to fight the violent government armies and militias who were destroying towns and neighborhoods. Volunteer rebels from other Middle Eastern nations have also joined the Syrians to assist the achievement for democracy and political reforms. The combination of the Syrian citizens and foreign supporters formed the faction against the government. The actions of the government, army, and rebel factions acted as the catalyst for the inevitable civil war. The Syrian Arab Spring began in 2011 in a city called Dara. Protesters there confronted violent government retaliation. Following the event, more protests took place in Dara and began to spread towards bigger cities such as Aleppo and Damascus. More civilians were harmed in these cities while the UN began urging Syria's government to settle down. Any gatherings that took place were ended by police or other pro-government groups. As the violence continued, other countries were becoming more involved in Syria, such as the US, Britain, and Israel. Not only have other countries become more involved, but Al-Qaeda began to praise protesters for what they have done. As conditions became worse and worse for Syria, other countries started demanding for Assad to put an end to his violent crackdown and human rights violations. The US imposed sanctions in Syria and freezed assets while the EU banned oil imports to pressure Assad into changing his ways. Russia, however, provided support to the Syrian government and backed them when other countries began making it very hard for the government to maintain control. Events like these continued for almost 3 years. During that time, the government remained very harsh, killing countless civilians while protests and anti-government fighting continued. Other countries had found evidence that Assad even used chemical weapons against his people. This demonstrates how many human rights violations Assad has committed and the urgency for government reform. The effects of the Syrian revolution are that hundreds of thousands of people have been killed, millions of people have become refugees, and other countries have had to clean up the mess left by the Syrian government. Because of the fighting between the government and rebel army, people have sacrificed their lives fighting for what they believe in. And for those who can't fight, they've become refugees, desperately trying to escape war-ridden Syria.
سوريا بالنسبة لي روحي وبلدي وحياتي وأرضي وكل ماضي وحاضري كان فيها. بس لما صار ضرب كثير خفت على أولادي.
Although the past 3 years have been rough for the country, there is hope. Peace conferences have been established with other countries as well as leaders of Syrian factions. The goals of these meetings are to end fighting once and for all and make peace in Syria. Each group has different ideals as to how the government should operate, but through compromise, there is a chance this will end conflict and restore order. Syria has been through a lot. However, with the help of other countries, Syria's issues can be solved. This will not only make Syria a better place, but will change the world.
دولة الإسلام دولة الإسلام باقية يا إخوان. دولة الإسلام دولة الإسلام دولة الإسلام باقية يا إخوان. يلا يا الله الجنة يا الله الجنة يا عظيم الشان. يا الله الجنة يا الله الجنة يا الله الجنة يا عظيم الشان. وين رشاشي وين رشاشي وين رشاشي مشعل النيران. وين رشاشي وين رشاشي وين رشاشي مشعل النيران. أمر بغدادي أمر بغدادي ننسف البنيان. بأمر بغدادي بأمر بغدادي. رجل الزامي سجن الحاير عساك الهد ينهد ساسك وبنيانك في عنبرك ناس ما تنعد يبغون تكسير بيبانك يبغون تكسير بيبانك. سجن الطواغي تغابني فزعتك يا قايد الشجعان. كرك ما كرت التاجي وسجون بغرب يا مقدام وسجون بغرب